All right, what is going on, guys? This past weekend, we had UFC Fight Night Kansas City, Machado Garry versus Prates. I'm going to be doing the fights to make after the event. Starting off with the main event winner, Ian Machado Garry wins a unanimous decision over Carlos Prates in a very, I would say, stern, almost dominant win. He clearly won the first 3 rounds, essentially doing whatever he wanted to Carlos Prates. And the Prates came back in the last 2 rounds and had some momentum going his way, especially towards the end of the fight. Look, there's only one fight to make for Ian Machado Garry. I understand he's going to be the backup for the title fight here in a couple of weeks. That's cool. That's fine. That does not make him eligible to fight for the title next. I don't remember who was fighting for the light heavyweight title, but I remember Anthony Smith weighed in as a backup and missed weight. It was somewhat within the last few years. I don't remember who was even fighting for the title at that point, but Joaquin Buckley. Now, I know Buckley has a fight coming up, so we'll also sub in Kamaru Usman. So if Usman beats Buckley, we'll do Ian Garry versus Kamaru Usman. But if Buckley wins, which is who I'm picking to win that fight, then I want to see Ian Machado Garry versus Joaquin Buckley. Almost a number one contender fight. You kind of have Shavkat waiting in the wings. You have Sean Brady, he's right up there as well. Just beat Leon Edwards, former champion. But he has a loss to the current champion, Bilal Muhammad. So if JDM were to win and Shavkat's still out injured, I definitely think Sean Brady deserves the title shot over Garry. That's only if Shavkat's injured, though. If Shavkat's not injured, he earned the title shot over beating Garry per Dana White at the time. I think this would be a great fight. Really excited. Hopefully this fight happens. Moving on. Loser of the main event, Carlos Prates. I've kind of been going back and forth on this one. I couldn't think of anybody off the top of my head that I thought is at welterweight and deserves to fight into the rankings. So I came up with MVP. And here's my reasoning behind it. MVP has a very weird, tricky style, but he kind of, in a way, does a similar stuff that Garry does, where he likes to hit you with a combination and then get out of the way. Obviously, they do it different fashions, where MVP likes to dart in and out. Garry doesn't really do that as much. Garry has a win over MVP, and I think if Prates wants to get, which it seems that is his goal, is to work his way towards a championship, he needs to be able to beat this style. And I think if he could help get over this type of style where they're kind of going to be circling a lot, darting in and out, and eventually maybe fight Garry again for the belt possibly one day, he definitely needs to be able to figure out MVP. MVP's old. I know he's on a win right now, coming off of the win off of, what's his name? Sherbulat Magomedov at middleweight. And he did say if it was a one-time thing, he wants to go back down to welterweight. I think this would be a great matchup. You could also rebook the Jeff Neal fight, depending on when he wants to come back. Moving on. Co-main event winner, Zhang Ming Yang destroyed Anthony Smith in the first round. I got Bogdan Guskov. Guskov is on I believe it's a 3-fight win streak currently. And there's really not a whole lot to book up at light heavyweight, like higher up in the rankings, because they're all kind of booked up right now. So I think this would be a great matchup in the light heavyweight division. And then if Guskov can get a win over Zhang Ming Yang, definitely he deserves probably a top 5 opponent at that point. And same goes for Zhang Ming Yang. If he can get a win over Bogdan Guskov, he would be looking at a top 5 opponent in his next bout. Moving up, we have David Onama, got the win over Giga Chikadze, kicking him out of the rankings. I'm recording this on Tuesday when they updated the rankings. Giga is out of the rankings. He was ranked number 12. They still got Calvin Kattar in there. They still have Josh Emmett in the rankings. They still got Brian Ortega in there. I know he has a somewhat recent win, but nonetheless, I thought of what I think is going to be a very good fight in the featherweight division, and that is against Aljamain Sterling. I think David Onama versus Aljamain Sterling. I saw Guru did, he wanted him and Yusuf Zalal fight. Zalal was in David Onama's corner during this fight. I'm almost positive they are not going to fight, although that would be a very good fight, and I think it would be a fun and exciting fight to watch. I doubt it's going to happen. I think David Onama versus Aljamain Sterling. Sterling's coming off of a loss to Mobsar. Very close competitive fight. I would favor Aljamain Sterling to win this fight with David Onama. And he also needs to prove that he can beat these younger, up and coming contenders. I don't think Onama is that young. I believe he's 30. But if Sterling wants to make a run, I guess another run for the featherweight championship, which, he's a former bantamweight champion. If Volkanovski beats Mobsar, which is, probably the next challenger for the belt, if some reason Jean Silva skips over Mobsar, that's absolutely asinine. But Sterling gets 2 more wins. I mean, Volkanovski's going to need some contenders. And, let's say Silva makes his way up there before Aljamain Sterling does and beats Volkanovski, knocks him out. I think this would be a very fun, good matchup between Jean Silva and Aljamain Sterling, if Sterling could get a win streak going. And let's see if he can get it going against David Onama. And for David Onama, if he wants to work his way up the rankings, this would be a great win to have. Aljamain Sterling, solid at featherweight, dominantly beat Calvin Kattar. Very close competitive fight. I think it might have even been a split decision to Mobsar. This would be a great win to add to his resume. Moving up, we have Abus Magomedov wins over Michel Pereira. Kind of hard to get him a matchup. I'm not going to lie. I was looking through the middleweight rankings, and I came up with Brendan Allen. Grappling specialist. Abus has good grappling. I think Abus would absolutely destroy him on the feet. The only thing is Brendan Allen can go 5 rounds. Brendan Allen has 5-round cardio. He can go a hard 3 rounds. He can get the shit beat out of him and still go a hard 3 rounds. He might be able to beat Abus Magomedov. Abus needs to work on his gas tanks. Gas tank, I guess. Not gas tank. He needs to work on his gas tank. That's his biggest hole in his game. He's got very good striking, good grappling. Very dynamic striking as well. But the gas tank is just... That's something I think Brendan Allen could potentially expose in a matchup with him. But if Abus clips Allen, Allen is known to quit in there. So I think this would be a very good middleweight matchup. I know kind of people wanted, including myself, the Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen fight, but that hasn't been booked yet. I feel like if they were going to do that fight, it would have been booked like almost immediately. They've both fought very close together. Moving up the card, Randy Brown brutally knocks out Dalby. First person to finish Dalby. I've seen, like I mentioned during my post-fight reaction video, the commentator said Brown deserves to fight somebody in the top 15. And how, even though he's only on a 1-fight winning streak, he has fought a lot of good competition in the UFC. I do not believe he deserves to fight in the top 15. I would like to see him get one more win over a decent opponent. And if he can get that win, then I think we could talk about him fighting someone in the top 15 next. And that decent opponent. And the same goes for this opponent, Chidi and Njokuani. I think put these two guys together. Winner gets a top 15 matchup in their next fight. They're both kind of, get us some wins, lose, get some wins, lose. That's kind of how both of their careers have gone in the UFC. More Randy Brown than Chidi and Njokuani. I believe Brown's been in the UFC longer than he has. But I think this would be a very good striking matchup between the two. Moving on, Ikram Eliskerov. So, I know he called for a top 15 opponent. I don't think he deserves it yet. The competition that he's fought and beat, like Andre Muniz is his best win. It's a decent win, don't get me wrong. Muniz is not a total scrub, but I don't value that win very much. If he can get one more win over a good up-and-coming prospect at middleweight, which is who I have him set up against, this guy's 2-0 in the UFC. And again, this guy's 2 wins that I'm going to put up Ikram with are not the best wins. But guess what? Neither were Ikram's first 2 wins. Phil Hawes and Warley Alves, those are not the greatest wins to have. Like, Phil Hawes is a good fighter, but he has no chin. You touch him on the chin, he gets put out. I got for Ikram, Marco Tulio. Tulio coming off the win off of Tresean Gore. I picked very badly in that fight. I don't know why I didn't go with Marco Tulio. I think this would be a very good matchup between Ikram and Marco. They both have very good striking. I would lean the grappling with Ikram. But look, I think both of these guys very good up and coming prospects in the middleweight division, and potentially, after this, depending on what's going on in the middleweight rankings, a win over either or could potentially get them to fight a ranked opponent in their very next fight. Moving on, Malcolm Wellmaker knocks out Cameron Simon face down, ass up in his debut. And I'm going to give him someone who has a couple fights in the UFC. He's 1-1 in the UFC. Lost to an older veteran in his last fight, Ramon Tavares. Oopsies. There we go. Ramon Tavares, kind of just, like, he's got good boxing. That's kind of it. He's got good boxing. He's got a good chin. I don't think Wellmaker would be able to knock him out and finish him. So I really would like to see Wellmaker tested over someone who's not going to quit if they get hit. He's going to keep pressing forward. I think this would be a very good test for Malcolm Wellmaker. Even though Tavares is coming off of a loss and Wellmaker a win, I still think this would be a very good fight to go down in that bantamweight division. Wellmaker is not super old. He's not super young. I think he's 30. So he definitely, needs to start gaining momentum and fighting someone who has at least a couple fights in the UFC. I know Cameron Simon did as well. But yeah, these are my fights to make after UFC Fight Night Kansas City. If you guys have different fights to make, let me know what they are in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear them. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to subscribe, guys. I'm trying to hit 2,000 subscribers this year. All right? Share the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.